Hello everyone. Another little episode here on the Land Cruiser. It's coming along. I've been picking at it. Um, Removed a bunch of stuff. Took off the bumper, that plastic clip on the front. Took out the radiator finally. I'm still trying to remove the rack and pinion. It's got one more little nut I need to remove and it'll come out. But what I wanted to show you was just the progress on the rust. It's it's been tedious. I've been able to remove lots of it, down to the clean surface rust. It doesn't have any cancer. It's all just metal. And and I ordered a few parts so that one of the things was the dust, the little dust shield that goes behind the rotor for the brakes, goes around in this area here behind the rotor here, and that whole shield, I'll show you the new ones that just came in. That whole shield had fallen off or rusted away or whatever, and it's these shields right here. So I ordered both of them. They're Toyota. That's a part number for these shields. It's the left and the right, and I was able to take off the nuts, the bolts that hold the shield. There's the one that goes on this side. And what I wanted to show you also is so that's what I'm working on. I need to put the wheels back on it so I can push the truck out and pressure wash it. But before I did that, I went ahead and applied a coat of that Coroseal converter, rust converter that I showed you on another video. This stuff is like badass. Highly recommend it. Find it on eBay or at Walmart or whatever. And it's real milky. It's a creamy, milky substance. It's white. It even looks like milk. Do not drink it. But so once you start coating that rust, all the metal with this Coroseal, this is what it looks like. It turns it black. And, the more coats you put on it, the thicker it is, the more it converts it into iron phosphate. But you can see the back. I haven't done this area back here yet. I did the shock, and I did this piece here, right in through here, so I can put the shield back on. I went ahead and bought some new bolts for it. The old bolts, I kind of struggled taking them out. The old ones, these are the new ones. They got some of that Coroseal on them, but they're like brand new bolts. Also bought a tap that goes in the hole to rethread all the threads, clean them out, oil them, and then these are going to go on the shield with a lock washer. And bought these at Lowe's. They're not Toyota brand or whatever, but they fit. They're the right size. And with a lock washer, they'll be able to secure that plate right here where it goes. But this thing's like turning out like, looks as good as new. And the rotors are good. The pads are good. I even put a little coating of that Coroseal on here. This caliper looks brand new now. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing, man, the way this stuff converts the rust. So I'll be going through it, and you just need, I bought a gallon. I think that's like way more than enough to do the whole truck. And you can spray it on, like if you have a little sprayer like that, little spray thing or whatever, you can spray it on. I tried doing that, but I found out that the best way to do it is just to pour it in a little container and take a small brush and just kind of work your way in there and poke the brush into the little nooks and crannies, get the Coroseal everywhere, and it'll convert it all to a nice paintable surface. So like once it's converted like that into iron phosphate, now I can paint this thing black, like a flat black or whatever, and it'll look even nicer. I mean, it looks nice now with just the Coroseal, but it'll look even nicer once I paint it, and I'll show you that once I do that. The other thing, I checked all the bearings on the spindle. They're good. The races are good. The bearings are good. The rotors are good. Everything's good. I'm gonna repack all the bearings, and then the seals that go on the back side of this thing, I'm gonna be replacing also. They're like the oil seals. They go on the back of these loaders. And there's a Toyota part. If you're interested or you're doing this job, hold on, let me get the lighting right. There it is. But these seals also need to be replaced. I mean, you don't have to. Like, I didn't really necessarily have to do this, but I decided to do it anyways. There they are. Just because these are the original factory seals. This truck's in 06, and I just don't want to have any issues down the road later, and then I regret, like, man, I should have changed them, you know? So I don't want any oil leaking in this area. And they're real easy to pop out. You just pop them out and put the new ones in, kind of tap them in there, or press them in if you have a press. And that way you're assured that these seals will not leak. And your bearings will be waterproof and all that good stuff. So anyways, just want to give you that update. It's coming along, looking nice. All right, I'll show you the next phase once I coat everything and then I get it ready for paint. All right, talk to you later. Merry Christmas. All right, YouTubers, here's another little update. So I'm trying to free up this rack and pinion on this 2006 Land Cruiser, and I've run into some issues here. I've read some forums. There's very little information out there. I think there's only like 1 or 2 videos, and apparently this is a real frustrating, difficult job for the everyday do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. And I'm one of those guys, and this thing's trying to defeat me. But it's pretty much free. Whoa, sorry. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Just dropped the phone there, sorry. But anyway, so the whole rack and pinion's freed. It's loose. As you can tell, the only thing is, so one of the things that gave me the most difficulty was removing this shaft, the intermediate shaft that connects to the column back in there. It goes all the way up to the column, the steering wheel, and it was really rusted out. I was able to get it out. Here it is. And yeah, it took some wrestling, a lot of penetrating solvent, the PB blaster stuff. This stuff is miraculous. But anyway, so it's got this split that I had to kind of work open with the chisel and screwdriver, soak it, move it, vibrate it, do everything possible. And then the other end was just as bad as far as rust is concerned. I put a couple marks on here just so I'll know where the original position was, and then I measured this distance here, like from the fender to where this spindle connects here. The outer joint here connects to the actual wheel assembly right here, and measured this distance to there, and it came out at 13 inches. So that'll give me the exact positioning when I put everything back to exactly 13 inches. And the other thing I'm wrestling with now, so I was able to get that shaft off, which was a PITA, literally. And in the neck as well. My neck has been hurting just from being on this creepy crawly thing here. And I got myself a pillow, just a piece of wood here so I can rest my head. That's my makeshift pillow. And support my neck, because yeah, your neck starts to hurt from trying to hold your head up. But anyway, so the problem I'm running into now is this damn oil assembly here that is preventing this whole part of the rack and pinion to come out this way. It's in the way, because the rack and pinion actually needs to slide that way, out that hole, and then work this way, and then pull this way. And I think I'm gonna have to remove this in order for all that to happen through here, because this needs to go through here as well. And I need to turn the whole steering mechanism to the right so that this arm goes in as much as possible. Then I'll remove the tie rod end, and hopefully this stub right here will be short enough where I can get it past this point. If not, I'm gonna have to take the boot off, which some guys have done. There's a video where this guy just takes the boot off and disconnects it from here, and then you got to replace all this clamp and then the other clamp on the boot, maybe even the boot itself if it gets damaged. But this is literally a pain in the ass, kind of poor engineering on the Japanese part. It's still Toyota, it's good quality, but man, this job is like almost to the point where you almost have to lift the engine up to get this damn rack out of there. And there's another guy on a forum that says that, yeah, all you got to do is undo the support, the engine support here, and tilt the engine upward about an inch or two, or as high as you can get it. But all you need is like an inch just to raise this whole assembly up about an inch and be able to get this rack out. I don't want to go that route, undoing motor mounts. Yeah. And then just to disconnect everything and lift up the engine, I think seems like really hard. So right now I'm rather, there's another way where you can just remove all this assembly here and get it out of the way. However, this is a water-cooled supply that cools the motor oil as it goes through the filter. It keeps the motor oil and the filter itself rather cool or cooler, so it doesn't overheat because there's water running through here. So when you disconnect this line and then this line back here, if you can see it on the back side of it, this line, I have it tucked away over here, you're gonna get a lot of coolant coming out of that compartment. And then of course the oil, you're gonna have to drain the oil to remove this oil filter. And then the bolts and nuts, there's two, there's a little assembly like this in the back that kind of holds the base for this thing. This is it right here. These bolts were a pain in the ass to remove. And I'll be cleaning all this up too, so get rid of all that rust. But man, it's like, why? It's like over-engineered. It's got all these bolts, and then there's still a nut way back in there. I don't know if you can see it, way in the very back, that I need to remove as well. That's part of that assembly. It's way down there. And I don't know how I'm gonna get to that one, but that holds the base to this assembly here. And then there's also another bolt over on this side that needs to come off back in here to take this damn thing off. So all that just to be able to get this rack out. It's crazy. And then this issue here, I don't know, like I said, all this has to be disassembled just to get it past this this big tunnel here on the frame and get it over on this side so it can slide far enough to come this way and then out. So it's a challenge. I'm not gonna let it kick me in the butt, even though it is, but the reason I'm taking this off, like I mentioned in another video, is to be able to clean the top of this cross member here where this rack sits. I want to clean all that just like I've been cleaning everything else, and then so I can coat it with this Corroseal, which is doing its job. Also really nice product. You can tell the difference right here where I put some of that stuff up to here, and then the rest is still just clean metal. But once you coat it with all this stuff, it starts giving it that protection and conversion, where it converts all the rust. All this will be coated with that Corroseal. So I want to do this and then put the rack back along with some new bushings. These two bushings, this one and that one, will be replaced as well with those polystyrene or polyurethane or whatever those hard bushings are, instead of these factory rubber that are kind of mushy already. So anyways, and then the rack itself, I want to clean it up, inspect it. It didn't have any leaks before, but I still want to go through it, and now's the time to do it because well, I'm doing all this other stuff. And then if there's actually a rebuild kit that you can buy to rebuild these things, undo all the innards, all the innards and O-rings and different seals that are in there for the pistons, and rebuild it yourself, which is like 150 bucks I think for the kit. Or you can buy a brand new rack that's already rebuilt by somebody else, like a Reman, around, I don't know, from two to 400 bucks. You can find them rebuilt. Or you can find the OEM Toyota rack for about 700 bucks. So there's different options. But if push comes to shove and I figure I need to just put a new one or a rebuilt one in there rather than rebuilding this one, I might go that route and just put a new rack in there, which is probably what I'll end up doing. But anyway, so in the meantime, I'm trying to get this one out. Once this one's out, then we can move forward. So I'm still wrestling. Gotta get to those bolts back over there so I can remove this damn oil assembly. Yeah. You're coming out, sucker. Alright, we'll talk to you later. I'll give you another update. Bye. Alright, here's a little update on this oil cooler area. So I was able to get an extension way back in there to get to that last little nut. It was a little seized up, rusty like all the other stuff, but I was able to get to it and then loosen it. These other ones that were in here that are part of this bracket, I was able to access kind of similarly, and then just with a 12 millimeter little wrench, you know, I was able to get in here and kind of work these loose, including the one back there. I actually used the ratchet for the very back one, and it came out nice. You know, with a little soaking, that whole little bracket came out. And then right now I'm going to take that rear one off and remove this oil thing and move forward. All right, thank you, bye. All right, so I got this oil assembly thing off. It was a pain in the butt, like everything else. You gotta be careful of these O-rings that are right here. It's a little seal that goes there where it mounts up there on the engine. You gotta disconnect this plug to free it. But as you can tell, now that it's free and this hose is removed here, disconnected, now I have all this room here to maneuver this damn rack out of here. So that's my next step. I'll let you know. But yeah, this needs to come off so you can have all this room to take this thing out. All right, I'll give you another update later.